of your time waiting for the perfect. And now our watch begins.
Hey, you. Welcome back to the channel. And I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Wanted to revisit Game of Thrones here and American Gods. We had did a prior video and it spoke about my disappointment in episode 1, season 8 of Game of Thrones so far. And a similar incident with American Gods, but let's focus on Game of Thrones for the first part of the video. So we come off of episode 1, which I wasn't very happy about, and I give several reasons why that is, and you can watch the video and subscribe to the channel to find out why. But on this revisit here, we want to talk about the great improvement that Game of Thrones made with episode 2. And that was a clip from episode 2 you just watched with Jon Snow now kind of rekindling the relationship he had with the men of the Night's Watch, and as well Ghost appearing in the shot. So many people were asking about where's Ghost, where's Ghost. The Ghost is right there. So this episode to me should have been how episode 1 was, right? I think all of this should have happened in episode 1. Now, or I'm sorry, yes, episode 1. Now, where I think part of the issue has been as well is I originally thought every episode would be about an hour and a half long, right? It would be all like mini movies and the season would be shorter. And what we've gotten in episode 1 and 2 is we've gotten episodes that are only about 50 minutes or so long. Now, had episode 1 and episode 2 been combined together as one episode, I think everything could have worked out fine. But, you know, the idea that we got presented with episode 1 the way it did, I just thought it left so much to be desired. But in any event, episode 2 made up for a great amount of issues with episode 1. And in episode 2, of course, we get to see all of the reunions of characters we've never seen all at one place at one time on screen, all under the Winterfell household and interacting, and we get this quiet before the storm type feeling where everybody's kind of saying the last words possibly they're going to get to say to each other before the impending doom of the battle with the White Walkers emerges. And so, of course, what was just so amazing, many people focus on the Brienne scene. That was the title of the episode, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, right? Where Brienne, who has acted like a knight the entire series, very honorable, has more right to be a knight than anybody in the series, gets knighted by Jamie Lannister, right? And they're very emotional, great relationship that these two share. Of course, with the comedy bit being thrown in with Torment's Giant's Bane, where he tells this crazy story about how he got his name, right? And so all of these reunions were just amazing, a great improvement. Again, my big problem was I feel like it's down to the wire now. Prior in other Game of Thrones seasons, what we got was we get a lot of the exhibition, and they got time to kind of drag things on and a variety of things. But I feel like this being the final season, just don't have time to do all that. So this is all about the preparation before all these events happen. Arya Stark, loses her virginity, but of course on her own terms, being this powerful young woman she's become. And this episode just did everything right. I liked how it moved. I liked the relationships with everybody. I like how we get to find out from Bran that with Bran, he knows what the Night King wants, and he's baiting him, right? And Rathion, who is finally redeeming himself in so many ways, wants to be Bran's protector. So we got to see all these great things come together, and they didn't drag on Jon Snow telling Daenerys that he really is the heir to the Iron Throne. Now, these were interesting choices, and for me, they work. Again, I wish episode 1 and 2. I would have liked this just to be one episode. They did all this in one episode. It would have just ended that episode, I think, great. And had they been the length of what I was under the impression they'd be, looks like they could have got that all in on episode 1, and then I could have walked away with a good taste in my mouth. But in any event, we're here now, and so Dany finds out, and we get this very weird reaction from her that I didn't like. But it just goes to show how Dany's character is now developed into this very focus driven. It's almost like the Iron Throne takes precedence with her over everything in her life at this point. And so that was all very interesting, the way they went with that. How Jon spoke about it, how I would have liked to see Jon more act in a way to show that, hey, I'm not really interested in the Iron Throne, like he's been with many of the positions he's taken, and a variety of things like that. But the show didn't choose to do it that way. But in any event, just a great episode. I just want to let you all know that it, in my opinion, it is now getting on track with what I know Game of Thrones can be. So we also American Gods, same thing. American Gods for you American Gods watchers. If you're not into American Gods, you should start watching it. It has this Game of Thrones like feel. Great storytelling. Another great book written by Neil Gaiman that's been adapted into a television show. But of course, in the American Gods, did a complete turnaround. Mad Sweeney being this great character, such a great part of American Gods. Unfortunately, Mad Sweeney dies in this episode, as we got to learn so much about him, that he was this god king who slayed his grandfather in this basically Celtic mythology, right? He was a Pict, the Scottish warrior rather. And he becomes, I believe his name was Luke, which is I think it translates to something like the sun god or something like that in this type of ancient mythology of the British Isles, right? And or Celtic mythology, I guess that would be kind of in the Celtic mythology range. Just an awesome episode. Mad Sweeney is such a great character, and many of us are disappointed that he does die in this episode, but they just give us a great episode. Interesting enough, Tech Boy also seems to be put out of commission, and how these things happen with gods, we're not sure if they get reborn or what goes on with them, but we do see Laura making it back to town right after Mad Sweeney is killed in this episode. So we don't know what will happen with that. I hope Mad Sweeney's coming back because he's such a great character. I want to see, he's one of my favorites, so I want to see them do a lot more with him. But just a very interesting overall episode with Mr. Wednesday entrusting Shadow Moon, with his spear. And Shadow Moon ending up killing Mad Sweeney as he's kind of pulled to protect Mr. Wednesday in this type of this strange relationship between Mr. Wednesday and Shadow Moon, what he wants with Shadow Moon and how Shadow Moon protects him. So it's definitely something there, that's part of this relationship. Many of us are pretty certain now that he is Mr. Wednesday's son. He has some godlike power that we'll get to discover later in the episode. But on Mad Sweeney's way out, he sends the spear to what seems to be this kind of netherworld where where he explains where his coins, his lucky coins, the treasure, this treasure he has, it originates from. And I forget the name of the treasure. Just it's a hoard, this hoard that they took. I imagine it was when he was this pig king. And I forgot the name of it, but it's like this dimension. It's this place where he can take these coins out. It seems to us they're appearing out of nowhere, but he's actually taking them from there, and he's able to send the Mr. Wednesday spirit back there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that as well. I'm looking forward to the next episode of American Gods. Definitely looking forward to the next episode of Game of Thrones, which will air tomorrow night on HBO. Tell me what you guys think. Did you feel that you've got total redemption now with the Game of Thrones? I know a lot of people were iffy after episode 1. Now going to episode and after episode 2, many changed their minds like I did. But I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. That's all I got for this episode. If you like content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and until next time, take care.